America is home to 33 million small businesses, the beating heart of communities across the country.
And proof that the American dream is still alive.
This is a show about those dreamers and doers and the communities they serve.
Their real life stories.
Their struggles and successes.
Their grit, determination, and passion.
And the people who fight
to keep their American dream alive.
I'm Alfredo Ortiz.
I'm Elaine Parker.
And it's time for another episode of Main Street Matters,
America's small business megaphone.
I'm Jordan Bruno, Vice President of Job Creators Network. Today we're joined by Josh Lammle. Josh is the CEO of Patriot Owned Businesses. Josh, welcome to Main Street Matters.
How you doing, sir? Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Great, thanks for coming on. Why don't you give our listeners and audience a little bit of background about yourself and your business?
Sure. Yeah. So for 16 years, I've been in the world of business and technology. So 16 of that really was dedicated to being a principal architect. So I was in as a technologist and as an architect, my job was to deal with complex designs and being able to complete them as best as I could for any really use case for anybody in the Fortune 1000. So I kind of was establishing myself in that space, and I saw how much of a need in some of the smaller businesses that I was working with at that time that was not within the Fortune 1000 that really needed help and that were underserved, which is the reason why I got out of that and started my own company. And then that also led to POB.
Well, yeah, I mean, small businesses need help on a lot of fronts. What does your business do to help small businesses?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges I've seen firsthand is I think that many business owners listening will kind of relate to this as well, is they have a sense of isolation, right? You're in the trenches, you're wearing a hat, you're juggling day to day, but most days it feels like kind of like you're on your own. And so like, you've got employees counting on you, customers depending on you. You got business to build. You got, where's your community? Who's walking beside you? To give you trusted referrals, real advice, encouragement, not just like empty business cards. And I think that is why POB got founded in the first place, and why we're building, more than just a directory. We're building movement. Obviously a growing network with over 19,000 faith-driven, patriotic entrepreneurs who want to grow smarter. They want to connect, and they want to leave a legacy that matters.
Wow. Can you give us a couple of examples of like small business case studies or businesses that have been helped by using your service?
Yeah, quite a few actually. So quite a few contractors. We have tons of different types of entrepreneurs. But there's been some contractors, without giving their name because I didn't get their express approval on it. But if you want, there are some of them on our website as well. But some of the case studies are not only just the referral side, but before, when we would do events, we would actually do what's called business spotlighting. So we would actually show up for their event, invite a bunch of people, and help promote that business full send. And that really helped not only drive up their sales, but it drove product or whatever, like for My Pillow, obviously everyone knows Mike Pillow, with Mike Lindell. We did a day where we just dedicated a huge sale for him, and we actually got about 15,000 sales in one day.
Wow. So are there any requirements to be a Patriot-owned business, or like is it just obviously love of country, but like is there any screening mechanism, or can anybody join?
So we have a small vetting, especially for if you're going to be in the directory, because we want to make sure that whoever's going out there is going to represent. So we do vet, make sure that you are who you say you are. You have been in business for a specific amount of time. You do fit the criteria. But yes, it's patriotic. It's people that are going to be obviously wanting to be part of a solution in a community, and we're good at finding that out with a little bit of a questionnaire. So yes, there is a small vetting process to be able to do that.
Wow, sounds like a really valuable service. Moving to policy for a minute, what are some of the biggest challenges that your clients are facing right now in the small business community?
Well, let's not ignore that for the last 4 years we have seen not only a decline but a complete reduction in support and aid. So and forgiveness. So we've never really seen that before, where you had zero support and zero forgiveness for small businesses, and that was what was happening. So, we've seen that. So on tax reform, obviously that really was really helpful in a lot of ways what Trump did during his previous administration, which is what we're still under with the TCJA. But cutting those regulatory red tapes, I think that was a major thing that helped us. And um, but when we looked into it, we were looking on how can we be advocates and work with other advocates and policy directors uh, as well to give us more insight into being able to inform our members on what to do, when to do it.
Hmm. So what would you say when you have like a new business come to you, join
Mm,
your company or join your directory,
sure.
are you hearing the same things again and again from them, or or is it just a different challenge based on
Yeah,
every different person?
I mean, I would say the most common issue is when you have an economic downturn, sales is always impacted. So
Mhm.
how do you get more sales? How do you get access to capital? How do you get into a community that's going to develop strong ROI for you? Those are the three big things for us. And that's why when we heard that and we want to be able to respond in kind and give them specifically those three things.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing a lot of small businesses I talk to. There's a whole that runs the gamut of sentiment right now. You have a lot of people excited for more pro business administration, but then you have a lot of
Yeah.
people really concerned about tariffs, and then also what's happening right now, more broadly, just with the
Yeah.
economic uncertainty. What is your read on economics, small business sentiment right now?
I would say most people are actually very excited, and obviously this new pro business administration isn't hasn't just done this now. They
Hmm.
showed this during the 2017, right? So that they were going to be a stamp for that, and I think that we're already seeing that now. When it comes down to tariffs, that's a whole nother thing. I mean, people that don't understand tariffs, they always want to say that they're a bad thing, except we've been running on them for 250 years. So the whole thing is they're great for negotiations, and we have seen how well they are used for that specific um, metric. But also, people don't realize how many other countries are tariffing the crap out of us and what they're getting in return for it. So I think that onshoring definitely needs to occur, and I think that we're already starting to see it with a lot of smaller sectors. And specifically in Texas, we're seeing it with being able to for some certain times of manufacturing saying, okay, well, there's more incentive to come back and do this type of thing. So reshoring or onshoring is happening, and I'm happy to see it. So I think that there's a lot of pro business support. I'm starting to see that a lot of people are excited about that. I think where the uncertainty comes from is where when the dust settles, because there's obviously this is the time for all the would be negotiation. And once the dust settles, then you get a little bit more clarity into what's going to come next.
Yeah, no, certainly we've seen a lot of investment. I just was reading
Yes.
the other day, Hyundai is going to build a huge factory. That's just the
Yeah.
latest of dozens and dozens
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
stories with that.
They put out the list, and it was like something like $3 trillion committed, right,
Hmm.
over all those different companies that's going to be reinvested in the U.S. Those are major wins. Yet
Hmm.
no one's talking about those wins because, of course, they're Trump policies.
Right, right.
Right.
One of the key initiatives we're working on this year at Job Creators Network is extending and expanding the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which, as you mentioned,
Yep.
passed at the end of 2017. That's been
Mhm.
a real game changer for our small business members.
Right.
20% tax deduction, the immediate write-off. There's immediate expensing, and then just the lower rates are obviously huge. That without congressional action, though, that ends at the end of the year. What are you
Right.
hearing from your small businesses you talk to about the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and tax policy more generally? Are they aware of this ending, and are they, excited to have it continue?
I would say that you're absolutely right. I think that there's a decent amount of people that I wouldn't say they're uneducated, but maybe they're unaware that
Hmm.
it will be ending. Now, as far as things go, I would say that that represents, at least from my community that I talk to, because we constantly talk about these things, it represents a very small within POB. Okay, so I would say only about 15% maybe of that community are unaware that that's going to end. Now, or that there's not policy advocates like yourself that are trying to fight on that. Now, within small businesses on other networks and other development groups that we've talked to, there is it's kind of a mix. I would say about 40% are probably unaware, and they don't realize what impacts those and the implications of what those will be. But we've been trying to educate as best as we can, because that's also kind of a position that we take, is to educate, not just give networking and referrals, but to educate, give resources, tools, and an entire platform for them as well.
Nice, nice.
So I agree.
If there was one policy that you personally, or you speaking on behalf of the businesses you work with, would like to see happen maybe over the next year or two, what would that be?
The TCJA 2.0.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, especially with what he's discussed and rolled out, and it's been very transparent about. I mean, everybody, I don't think that they're, regardless of left or right, you want this. So they shouldn't be arguing. They shouldn't be trying to block it. They should be absolutely getting it through, because it's going to empower small businesses. And really, that's the crux of everything, right? It's like when we think about how much volume that small business is doing, it's like, guys, we're I don't know why we're even arguing this. Small businesses are the core of America, and obviously, don't get me wrong, the corporations have a great part to play in this, but small businesses are the driving engine.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. I mean, that's just tying in a little to my last question here. Like, for more of a philosophical point of view, like, what do you see as the role of small businesses in society and in America?
The role of small business has always been kind of the position of support, right? So you have all of your foundations. The only reason why corporations can grow to the point that they have and build those skyscrapers is because they had the right foundations to do so in the beginning, which was all the small businesses. Without small businesses, we would have no foundation, and you're crippling the foundation, which you never want to do. You don't buy a house and go, hey, oh, that looks like a bunch of cracked foundation. Are you going to still buy that house? No, you're not, because it has been compromised. When you compromise small businesses, you're doing that a specific thing, not only to the economy, but all commerce. You're looking at trade, international and national, and you're also affecting state and local. Everything is affected when small businesses are impacted.
Well said. Josh, where can our listeners go to learn more about you and maybe sign up for your services?
Sure. So patriotownedbusinesses.net will be the place to do that. And as well, and I was going to show you guys the application, but that's what I was actually on the previous call about. Our application is down somehow, and it happened to be on the day that I'm talking to you. I promise it's not a normal thing, but it is down right now. So we're going to get that back up. So it's a really cool application, and it does AI matchmaking and things of that nature so that people can get involved. So yes. As far as they want to go to the website and go to patriotownedbusinesses.net, they'll be able to kind of get some things. And if they're interested in getting more, obviously just leave us a message, and we'll happily get involved or get to them and have a conversation.
Awesome. Well, Josh, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today on Main Street Matters, America's Small Business Megaphone. Main Street Matters is part of the Salem Podcast Network. New episodes debut every Wednesday and Friday. Please subscribe at salempodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll be back soon with another episode. Bye for now.